Dr. Myra Holt never believed the galaxy could show fear, but today she watched it happen. From her small research station on lunar orbit, she stared at the live star map glowing before her. 1,000 blue dots, ships, fleets, and caravans were all changing course at the same time. They were not slowing, they were not communicating, they were running, and they were all avoiding one single place, Earth. No one knew why. No warning, no threat message, no attack, just silence. A heavy, crushing silence that spread across the galactic network like a storm. Mira replayed the footage again. Something ancient, something powerful, had forced the galaxy's oldest species to retreat. The Varel Dominion, the most ancient civilization known, older than the first starships, older than written history, had abandoned their trade route and fled the region. They had never run from anything, but now they ran from Earth. Mira leaned closer to the screen. Her heart beat faster. What are they afraid of? She whispered. Down on Earth, life continued as normal. Cities glowed. People worked. Children played. No one knew their planet had suddenly become the most feared object in the galaxy. Myra zoomed into a data stream. A signal spike flashed across the Pacific Ocean. Brief, faint, but not random. It pulsed like a heartbeat. It was old, older than anything she had recorded before, and it came from deep underground. Suddenly, her console turned red. Incoming message. Galactic emergency alert. Do not approach Earth. Do not scan Earth. Do not interfere. The sender Varel, High Council. Myra froze. Why were they warning their own allies? She opened a private communication channel. Counselor Reth, what is happening? She asked. The old creature appeared on the screen, tall, thin, with glowing silver eyes. But today, those ancient eyes were full of fear. Dr. Holt, he said slowly, you must evacuate. Earth has awakened something we buried long ago. Mira's breath caught. Buried, on Earth. By who? Reth did not answer. His voice trembled. Do not search for it. Do not try to understand it. Protect your world while you still can. Then the transmission cut. Mira stared at her screen in stunned silence. Her mind spun with questions. What could frighten a species 1 billion years old? What did they bury on Earth? Why was it waking now? And why was the signal growing stronger? As she watched the Pacific heartbeat pulse again, the lights in her station flickered. The air hummed with a strange vibration. The message was clear. Whatever slept beneath Earth was no longer sleeping, and the galaxy was running because it knew exactly what was coming. Earth did not. Dr. Mira Holt did not sleep that night. The warning from the Varel Council kept echoing in her mind. Something was waking beneath Earth. Something ancient. Something they feared. She replayed the message again and again, trying to find hidden meaning in the counselor's trembling voice. When morning light touched the moon's surface, Mira was already at her console. She pulled up new readings from the Pacific Ocean. The strange signal had grown stronger overnight. It was now repeating in a steady rhythm, like a countdown. But a countdown to what? Before she could analyze it further, her station alarm rang. Incoming ship detected. Unknown origin nan-hostile. Mira frowned. No alien species was supposed to come near Earth. They all fled. So who would dare approach now? She opened the visual feed. A small, dark ship drifted toward her station, moving quietly, like a shadow in space. It bore no markings, no banners, no identification codes. It was not human, not any species she recognized. The ship connected with her docking bay. A moment later, 3 figures stepped inside her station. Tall, armored, completely silent. Their suits were made of black metal that shifted like liquid. One of them stepped forward. We are the observers, the figure said, voice filtered through a mask. We are here to watch Earth. Mira felt a chill. Watch why? The mask tilted slightly. You already know why. Before she could respond, the station lights flickered again. The Pacific signal pulsed hard enough to shake the station. The observer spoke calmly. It is waking. Mira stared at him. What is waking? The masked figure did not answer. Instead, he projected a hologram. It showed Earth from orbit, but under the surface was a web of glowing lines, energy lines, ancient pathways, veins of light hidden under continents and oceans. This structure, the observer said, is older than your species, older than your sun, older than this region of the galaxy. Mira stepped closer. The glowing lines were spread across the entire planet. Every pulse from the Pacific sent light racing through those pathways. How long has it been there? She asked quietly. We do not know, the observer replied. Only the Varel know, and they refuse to speak. Mira felt her heart pound. Why are they hiding it? Why did they bury it on Earth? The observer's mask turned toward her slowly, because Earth is the only world that could contain it. Before she could ask more, the ship's sensors beeped urgently. A massive energy burst detected Pacific region. Mira opened the feed. A shockwave erupted from deep underwater, blasting through the ocean like a pillar of light. The wave reached space in seconds, shaking satellites, disturbing and cutting off communication networks. It was not an explosion. It was a signal, a very old, very powerful call. The observers looked at one another. It has felt the galaxy watching, one said, and now it is answering. Mira stared at the glowing pillar. Is it dangerous? The leader paused. Everything ancient is dangerous. Everything forgotten is worse. The shockwave reached the moon. Mira's station trembled violently. She grabbed the console for support. Data screens scrambled. Systems shut down and restarted. For a moment, every light went dark. Then something new appeared on her monitor. A message. Not from the Varel. Not from the observers. Not from any known species. It was coming from below Earth's crust. For simple words. You left me here. Mira froze. Whatever was waking, it remembered, and it was calling someone or something back. The message on Mira's screen repeated again, glowing like burning metal. You left me here. Those 4 words spread through the station like cold air. The observers stood silent, their black armor reflecting the flickering lights. Mira swallowed hard. This message, who is it talking to? The lead observer stepped closer. Not to us, he said softly. Not to your species. It is calling someone older. Mira shook her head. Older than the Is that even possible? The observer did not answer, and that silence scared her more than any explanation. She replayed the message again, scanning the waveform. Something about it felt strange. The structure of the signal was not alien. It was not machine-like. It felt almost organic, alive. It is waking fast, another observer said. Faster than expected. Mira leaned over the console. Expected? You knew this would happen. The leader looked away, as if choosing his words carefully. Every ancient seal breaks sooner or later. Before she could respond, the station trembled again. A second shockwave rippled through space. The lights dimmed. Her monitors flashed with warnings. New data streamed in. Data that made Mira's breath hitch. The energy from the Pacific was spreading across Earth's crust. It was moving through the glowing lines, racing across continents like a living creature searching for something it lost. It's activating the whole network, Mira said. The observers exchanged tense looks. Then the Varel will be forced to speak. The leader muttered, as if summoned by his words. Mira's console chimed. Incoming transmission, encrypted. Varel High Council. Counselor Reth appeared on the screen, looking even older and more exhausted than before. Mira halt. You must listen carefully, he said, voice shaking. Mira folded her arms. No more warnings. I want answers. What did your people bury on Earth? Reth closed his eyes for a long moment. It was not us who buried it, he whispered. It was your kind. Mira froze. Humans. That's impossible. Humanity wasn't even not humans, Reth said sharply. Your ancestors. Mira blinked. Our ancestors? You mean early humans? Primitive humans? Reth's eyes glowed with deep sorrow. No, something far older. A species that existed long before your recorded history, long before your evolution. They were human-like, but different, greater. They carried knowledge that even we feared. Mira felt her legs weaken. You're saying humans existed before humans? Reth nodded. We called them the first ones. The observers stiffened at the name. Mira stared in shock. Why is this the first time anyone has heard of them? Reth looked away. Because they made us promise. They made every galactic species swear never to speak of them again. But why bury one of them on Earth? Mira demanded. Reth's face hardened. Because it could not leave. It was too powerful, too unstable. The first ones sealed it away, and chose Earth as its prison. Mira felt cold. A prison? For what? Reth whispered the word like a curse. For their greatest survivor. Before Mira could process it, her console beeped again. New message detected, same source. The 4 words changed. Now it said, where is everyone? The observers stepped back. It is becoming aware, one of them said quietly. Mira stared at the message, her heartbeat thundering in her ears. You said my ancestors sealed it, she said. What happened to them? Why did they vanish? Reth went silent. His eyes dimmed with ancient grief. They did not vanish, he said slowly. They destroyed themselves to seal it, to protect the galaxy. The station walls shook violently. Systems flickered. The third shockwave hit harder than the first two. This time, even the moon's surface cracked in small glowing lines. Mira had no time to react before new data exploded across her screen. A shape was rising beneath the Pacific, huge, sleeper-like, wrapped in millions of years of stone. Something was coming back. Something human. But not. Myra whispered. If it wakes fully, what will it do? Reth answered with a trembling voice. It will search for its creators, and when it learns they are gone, the galaxy will pay for their absence. The message on Mira's console changed a third time. Bring them to me. Mira stepped back in fear. It was awake. It was angry, and it wanted humanity, the descendants of the ones who abandoned it. The thing beneath the Pacific was no longer silent. Every minute, the energy readings grew stronger. Every minute, the ancient messages became clearer. Every minute, Earth moved one step closer to disaster. Dr. Myra Holt stood in the center of her flickering station, surrounded by the observers. Outside the window, the moon's surface glowed with thin cracks of white-blue light. The shockwaves were spreading far beyond Earth now. Even nearby planets felt them. The lead observer checked his wrist display. Another pulse is coming, he warned. Mira braced herself. How strong? The observer hesitated. Strong enough that the council will lose control of the region. As if summoned by the words, Mira's console lit up with dozens of emergency signals. Alien fleets around the solar system were failing. Engines died. Shields collapsed. Communications jammed. One by one, advanced starships slowed to a drifting stop. Powerless. It's disabling their technology, Mira said, fear twisting in her stomach. Not disabling, the observer corrected. Rewriting. The word chilled her. Rewriting. Before she could ask, the station shook again. The fourth shockwave tore through the region. Panels burst. Sparks flew. The observers held their balance easily, but Myra fell to her knees. When she looked up, the screens flickered back to life with a new signal. A shape. A long, curled form beneath the Pacific, larger than a mountain, surrounded by glowing rings of energy. It's moving, Mira whispered. It's finally moving. The observers tensed. Even their mechanical masks seemed uneasy. Then Mira saw something terrifying. The energy lines under Earth, the same glowing pathways shown in the hologram, were shifting direction. They were no longer random. They were aligning, guiding, forming a single path toward a location deep under the ocean. It's trying to connect with something, Mira said. The leader nodded. The first ones built an entire world system under Earth's crust. A lock, a cage, and now that cage is failing. Mira pointed at the center of the pattern. What is it trying to reach? What's at the core? The observer's voice dropped. A chamber the Varel called the heart. It contains the seal. Seal, Mira said. Seal for what? The survivor, he answered. The same being that sent you those messages. Mira felt her throat tighten. Why does it want humans? Before they could answer, a new alert flashed across the screen. Galactic perimeter breach. Varel containment shield, deploying. In orbit above Earth. A massive circular shield ignited. Golden arcs of energy wrapped around the planet like glowing vines. It crackled with ancient power, forming a barrier meant to trap whatever was awakening. The observers watched the display quietly. It won't hold, the leader said, as if proving him right. The creature beneath the ocean released another pulse. This one was sharper, angrier, filled with strange emotion. The Pacific waters burst upward in rising towers. The earth shook. Volcanoes erupted simultaneously across the globe. The golden shield trembled, then cracked like glass. Mira gasped. It broke the containment field. But that shield was billions of years old. Age does not equal strength, the observer replied. Not against something made by the first ones. Another tremor hit the moon. Mira grabbed a railing. We need to stop it, she said. We need to communicate. We need to do something. You cannot stop what the first ones created, the observer said calmly. Myra turned to him, anger rising. Then why are you even here? The black mask leaned closer. To watch, to report, to survive. Myra clenched her teeth. You don't care about Earth. We care, he said softly, but we cannot interfere. The survivor does not fear us. It only fears one thing. Mira frowned. What you? The observer said. Your species, the descendants of the ones who sealed it. Before she could respond, an alarm blared loudly. New structure detected beneath. Pacific Trench. Myra rushed to the screen and froze. A massive door carved with symbols, matching ancient human DNA, was opening under the ocean. Light poured from within. Stone cracked. Water boiled. The sleeper was rising, and the message changed again. I am coming home. The ancient door beneath the Pacific continued to open, releasing waves of glowing energy that rose like pillars toward the sky. The oceans roared. Storms formed instantly. Lightning forked across continents. Earth itself felt alive, awakening with something older than civilization. Dr. Myra Holt stared at the screens, heart racing, as the readings climbed higher than anything ever recorded. The observers stood silently behind her, unmoving, like shadows waiting for a final verdict. A massive shape rose from the Pacific Trench. At first, Myra thought it was a mountain. Then it unfolded, a being of pure light and stone. Humanoid, tall as a skyscraper, eyes like burning stars, its body wrapped in symbols matching ancient human DNA. Myra whispered, "Is that human?" The observer leader spoke softly. "It is what humans were meant to become." The being lifted its head toward the sky. The glowing pathways across Earth's crust surged with power, connecting to it like a network feeding a forgotten heart. A message echoed through space, not through speakers but directly into minds. "Where are my creators?" Myra flinched at the voice in her mind. It was deep, sad, confused, but growing angry. Counselor Reth appeared on Myra's console, face pale with fear. "Myra Holt, do not speak to it. Do not engage." But the being turned its eyes toward the moon, toward her. It felt her presence. It recognized her, and it sent a new message. "One of their children watches me." The observer leader stepped in front of Myra. "It has sensed you. That means the final seal is breaking." Myra shook her head. "Why me? I'm just a researcher." "No," the observer replied. "You carry the markers. The first ones changed your bloodline. All humans carry a trace of their design. You are their legacy, their final echo." The being raised its hand skyward, and the galactic network around Earth sparked violently. Starships lost control. Alien fleets panicked. Reth shouted through the screen, "We must evacuate the system. It will destroy everything searching for its lost makers." Myra's voice cracked. "But they're gone. You said they died, sealing it away." Reth closed his eyes. "Yes, and it cannot accept that." The being's voice boomed across the solar system. "Bring them to me, now." Myra stepped forward before anyone could stop her. "They're gone," she shouted toward the hologram. "They're not coming back." The moon trembled under her feet. Earth's atmosphere flashed with violent storms. The being's eyes brightened with grief and rage. "Impossible. They promised they would return." Myra felt tears in her eyes. "They didn't abandon you. They died saving the galaxy. They died sealing you away, so you wouldn't destroy everything during your collapse." The being froze. Its light dimmed. For the first time, it seemed to think. "They died because of me." Myra nodded slowly. "They cared for you. They tried to save you. But your power was too unstable. They couldn't control it. No one could." The being lowered its head. The storms softened. The oceans calmed. The observers watched in shock. Reth stared in disbelief. Myra stepped closer to the console. "You are not alone. Earth is still here. We are still here. We carry them inside us, your creator's last gift." The being lifted its eyes again, staring at her with new focus. "You are their children." "Yes," Myra whispered, "and we're not afraid of you." The being reached out, touching a beam of light gently to the Earth's surface. For the first time, its voice changed, more calm, less broken. "There, I am home." The moon trembled one last time, but this time the energy was soft, warm. The ancient pathways under Earth stabilized. The storms faded. The glowing cracks on the moon healed. The observers slowly lowered their weapons. Counselor Reth sat back in stunned relief. Myra exhaled shakily. "You don't want to destroy the galaxy," she said. "You just wanted your family." The being bowed its head. "I will protect what they left behind." And with that, it stepped back into the ancient chamber beneath the ocean. The massive stone doors closed slowly behind it, sealing with a peaceful hum. The glowing pathways faded. The oceans calmed. The world returned to silence. Reth spoke softly. "Humanity has saved the galaxy." The observer looked at Myra. "No," he said. "Humanity has reminded it why the galaxy exists." And for the first time since the awakening began, Myra smiled. Earth was safe. the galaxy was safe, and the legacy of the first ones lived on not in the ancient being, but in their descendants, humanity.